It's past midnight. The house is quiet in the way only late nights can be. The refrigerator hums. A small light over the kitchen counter is still on because I forgot to turn it off. Or maybe I didn't forget. I've been sitting here for a while, reading the same message over and over. Someone sent me proof about you. I didn't ask for it. I didn't go looking. It just arrived, clinical, precise, stripped of context. Screenshots, dates, words taken out of the warmth they were once spoken in. And I realized something strange. The first emotion wasn't anger. It wasn't even jealousy. It was stillness. I used to think love meant intensity, that if something threatened it, I would feel an immediate surge, a need to defend, to confront, to fix. But tonight, I just sat there, breathing, listening to the hum of the room. I thought about you. Not the version in those messages, not the version someone tried to package and deliver to me like evidence in a trial. I thought about the way you used to lean against the kitchen counter when you were tired, the way you would go quiet before saying something important, the way you'd absent-mindedly trace circles on the table when you were thinking. Those details don't fit neatly inside screenshots, and neither do people. For a few minutes, I let my mind drift backward. I remembered the evening we spent doing absolutely nothing. No big plans, no announcements, just sitting on the floor because the couch felt too formal somehow. You were explaining something small, a story about your day, and I realized I was paying attention in a way I rarely allow myself to. Not because it was urgent, because it was yours. I think that was the first time I understood that love isn't built from dramatic events. It's built from attention, from the decision to stay present in ordinary minutes. That realization didn't come when we were together. It came later, after, when the house felt bigger than it actually is, when the silence stopped feeling peaceful and started feeling instructional. I used to fill silence with work, with plans, with problems that could be solved if I just applied enough focus. You can't solve absence like that. Absence just sits with you and teaches you what mattered. When that message came tonight, I expected something inside me to fracture. Instead, something settled, maybe because I've already done the breaking. After we ended, I went through the usual rituals, replaying conversations, rewriting them in my head with better timing, better patience, imagining alternate outcomes where I was less distracted, less guarded, more available. I don't blame myself the way I did in the beginning, but I do understand myself more clearly now. I understand how easy it was for me to assume you would always be there, not because I didn't value you, but because I'm used to enduring things, building things, outlasting difficulty. I forgot that love isn't something you outlast, it's something you tend, quietly, daily, sometimes imperfectly. When someone sent me proof about you tonight, I noticed I didn't feel betrayed in the way I once would have. I felt curious, not about the details, about us, about why the idea of losing you now feels different than it would have then. Back then, I might have reacted quickly, confronted, demanded clarity, tried to restore control to something that never belonged to control in the first place. Now I just wondered whether I ever really made you feel safe enough to be fully seen. That's a harder question. It's easier to evaluate evidence than to evaluate presence. I remember one specific night. It was late. You were sitting near the window, knees pulled close, talking about something from your past that still hurt in small, quiet ways. You weren't asking me to fix it. You were asking me to witness it, and I think I responded with solutions. I offered perspective, strategy, ways to move forward. You nodded, but what you probably needed was stillness. Just someone to sit beside you and say, I see it. I'm here. I didn't know how to do that then. I'm learning, slowly. The message on my phone didn't rewrite our history. It didn't erase the mornings we shared coffee in silence. It didn't erase the way you would look at me when I came home tired but pretending not to be. It didn't erase the softness. Proof can document actions. It can't document the way someone's presence changes the air in a room. I don't know the full story behind what I was sent. Maybe there is one. Maybe there isn't. But I realized tonight that what unsettled me wasn't the possibility that you might have chosen differently at some point. It was the recognition that I never fully told you how much the ordinary days meant to me. I assumed you knew. You probably did. But assumptions are fragile things. After we ended, I started noticing small habits that were yours but had become mine. The way I rinse a glass twice before setting it down. The way I check the door lock an extra time. The way I pause before answering a difficult question instead of reacting. You're woven into more of my behavior than I understood. Not in a dramatic way, in quiet adjustments. That's what intimacy really is, I think. A gradual reshaping, not losing yourself, just expanding. Tonight, as I sit here, the house doesn't feel accusatory. It feels reflective. The clock on the wall sounds louder than usual. I imagine you somewhere else, maybe also awake. Maybe not. Maybe living a life that has nothing to do with me anymore. And strangely, that thought doesn't tighten my chest. It softens it. Because loving you taught me something I didn't expect to learn at this stage of my life. It taught me that being strong and being open are not opposites. For a long time, I believed composure was the same thing as emotional stability. But composure can also be distance. You tried, in your own way, to close that distance. Sometimes I met you halfway. Sometimes I stayed where I was and expected you to cross the rest. If someone truly sent me undeniable proof that you had moved on long before I realized, I think I would understand more than I would accuse. People move toward warmth. If there were moments you felt cold with me, I can't pretend that possibility doesn't make sense. This isn't self-punishment. It's clarity. I don't regret loving you. I don't regret losing you either. Loss has a way of sanding down ego. It forces you to confront the parts of yourself that achievement can't disguise. You were never impressed by ambition. You were attentive to presence, and presence is harder. When I think about you now, I don't see a courtroom of evidence. I see a kitchen light left on, a half-read book on the table, the sound of your footsteps down the hallway when you thought I was asleep. I see ordinary life, and I feel grateful for it. Not because it lasted forever, but because it existed at all. The proof on my phone is still there. I haven't deleted it. I also haven't responded. Maybe I won't. Not out of avoidance. Out of respect. Whatever truth exists in those messages belongs to a chapter that has already closed itself quietly. What remains for me isn't suspicion. It's integration. You loved me in the way you knew how. I loved you in the way I knew how. Both were imperfect. Both were real. If there's one thing I wish I could place gently in your hands now, it wouldn't be a defense or an explanation. It would just be this. Thank you for the ordinary days. Thank you for teaching me that attention is a form of devotion. Thank you for showing me that silence can hold more intimacy than intensity ever could. The house is still quiet. The light over the counter is still on. I'll turn it off in a minute. Not because the HTA is over, but because I'm no longer waiting for something to interrupt it. I'm just here, breathing, and at peace with what was.